What's up guys, welcome back. This is anime fiction. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Killed by an Anbu, Becoming a Hollow Part 21. Now, let's begin. The mansion's lobbies, featuring intricate carpets and softly illuminated chandeliers, resonated with the sound of a substantial coffin being moved. Kazuki navigated the corridors with a familiarity that suggested a deep understanding of every twist and turn. As he made a turn, a recognizable figure came into view. Chiruchi acknowledged him with a disapproving expression. Could you consider adding wheels to that item? The excessive noise is disrupting their rest. Chiruchi restrained her anger due to Kazuki's sincere efforts to repair her Zanpakuto previously. Regardless of the outcome, he put forth his utmost effort. Kazuki lifted the brim of his hat, gazing at Chiruchi with an intense expression. "We are transporting this coffin to the basement. I have an inquiry, Chiruchi-san. Did you remove your hollow traits?" He promptly rejected the notion upon perceiving her spiritual pressure. Had she relinquished her hollow traits, her power would have significantly decreased instead of becoming more pronounced. "Did you restore your Zanpakuto and seal your hollow traits within it?" "I did just that," Chiruchi stated, raising her left brow in a skeptical manner. "The leader assisted me in the restoration of my Zanpakuto. His flames are truly remarkable." A chill coursed through Kazuki as he observed the intensity in her gaze, akin to that of a fervent devotee. In their last meeting, she appeared to be experiencing significant distress. Now she exhibited an intense fervor reminiscent of a devoted follower. Her transformation was remarkable, to put it mildly. "Isn't Naruto the savior of everyone here?" Lillinet remarked as she arrived with Stark, Apache, and Mainoli. "Yet no one seems willing to assist him. This is disappointing behavior from friends." Lillinet persisted with her sarcastic comments, clearly displeased that no one offered assistance to Naruto. Apache tightened her fists, her Ryotsu intensifying in reaction. "I would be willing to take any action necessary to confront Naruto's adversaries with my chakrams. However, my involvement could potentially undermine his plans. As Stark previously mentioned, the situation is quite intricate." Lillinet dismissed the matter with a slight shrug. "I have concluded my efforts to persuade. Should any harm come to that individual, I will take decisive action against all present, followed by addressing the individual responsible for his harm. I will ensure justice is served." Stark meticulously ran his fingers through his hair. "Lillinet, redirect that energy to a different task. He will be all right, I assure you." Kazuki, who had been immersed in contemplation until that moment, finally spoke up. "Tessai, let's initiate the process. We can address the limitations of Naruto's Zanpakuto at a later time. If his Zanpakuto has the ability to restore a portion of someone's soul, it should similarly possess the capability to restore Yoruichi without the necessity of Hogyoku to merge her soul boundaries." Tessai acknowledged with a nod, and following Kazuki's direction, they approached a discreet staircase that descended into the basement. Tessai entered the basement and executed a series of advanced and restricted Kido spells in quick succession. Once the vibrant array of Kido spells diminished, the compact basement evolved into an expansive underground area comparable to the Urahara shop. "Impressive," Lillinet remarked, offering her applause in admiration. "With Kazuki's shop no longer operational, can we consider residing here permanently?" Apache displayed a nonchalant gesture. "Inquire with Naruto. He is the one who determines the operations in this environment. I merely fulfill my role as his assistant." "I kindly request your assistance," Lillinet said, her eyes gleaming with hope. "Naruto is likely to agree if you make the request on our behalf. He is unlikely to decline your request as well." "Darn it," Lillinet muttered quietly. "Stark, the responsibility now lies with you." The previous shopkeeper addressed the group consisting of Stark, Lillinet, Apache, and Mainoli. "I will be occupied for a while. I kindly ask everyone to monitor Naruto's Ryotsu closely. Please do not hesitate to assist him, as his well-being is of utmost importance." Following Naruto's heroic actions in saving him and assisting Yoruichi, Kazuki found it unbearable to consider the possibility of losing Naruto, even if it required revealing his identity and jeopardizing their mission. Apache nodded, her expression reflecting a strong sense of resolve. "Should the situation arise, I will act without hesitation." Kazuki directed his gaze towards the stairs, a subtle smile gracing his lips. "Indeed, this resembles a cult." He grasped the metal chain firmly and maneuvered the coffin through the doorway. After closing the door, he requested Tessai to create a force field encompassing the entire underground area. Interfering with the residents presented a significant threat to his safety. Kazuki retrieved the Hogyoku from his sleeve, broke its seal, and infused it with his Ryotsu. The Hogyoku did not respond. Kazuki's Ryotsu was insufficient to activate the Hogyoku. I do not possess the necessary qualifications for the position. Tessai contemplated with a thoughtful scratch of his chin. Should we wait for Naruto at this point? I anticipated this occurrence eventually, he stated with composure, adjusting the chains on the coffin before decisively pulling it free. Yoruichi, in her hollowified state, was securely bound to the coffin with reishi bindings, her form entirely immobilized under the effects of forbidden Kido. Despite Yoruichi's height of just over 5 feet, she did not occupy the entire coffin. There was a compartment beneath her, containing a box that resembled an antiquated television devoid of a screen. Tessai, I present to you, Seishin Zokyo, the resolution to our present challenge. Tessai's glasses shone brightly. A Ryotsu enhancer. You successfully completed that project. Are you aware of the significant advantage this could provide? Exercise caution, my friend. Observe how ineffective it may prove in a confrontation. Kazuki carefully examined the box and began to manipulate its components. At the rear of the box, 2 tubes, one red and one green, were affixed. Kazuki established a connection between the green tube and the Hogyoku. He then made an incision on his wrist and carefully inserted the red tube into the opening. With his eyes closed, he channeled his Ryotsu into the tube. The container referred to as Seishin Zokyo expanded significantly as it accumulated the Ryotsu, improved it through compression, and subsequently transferred the enhanced Ryotsu into the green tube. The Hogyoku began to emit a chilling, unsettling glow. We have achieved success, Kazuki remarked with a sense of relief as he pulled the red tube forcefully. He grasped the Hogyoku and positioned himself before the dormant Yoruichi. While this may not be the ideal solution, it is the best I can offer at this time. The Hogyoku began to emit a glow, seemingly in response to his intentions. Yoruichi's hollow mask disintegrated into small white flakes, accompanied by her arm, which was shielded by a layer of hiero. She shed all the hollow traits and reverted to the Yoruichi they once recognized. Merely at the surface level. Tessai, you may proceed to deactivate your Kido. Tessai executed intricate hand movements, causing the green luminescent energy surrounding Yoruichi to fade away. Kazuki gently prodded Yoruichi's face with the tip of his staff, yet she remained unresponsive. The hollowification and confrontation with Aizen have significantly depleted her Riryoku. It would be best to allow her some time to recuperate. Kazuki settled onto the ground in a cross-legged position, folding his arms across his chest. Tessai adopted a posture similar to that of Kazuki. The childhood friends found a moment of calm after experiencing one of the most demanding days of their lives. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, time passed quietly. It was not until 15 minutes had passed that Kazuki finally spoke up. Tessai, Aizen has proven to be even more formidable than we anticipated. We have clearly underestimated his determination to acquire my Hogyoku. Tessai acknowledged with a nod. Utilizing a straightforward field trip involving students to manipulate the Gode 13's actions is truly reprehensible behavior. Tessai, you were not present for what I experienced. Aizen effortlessly executed a level 90 Kido spell without a chant. Naruto was correct. He is not merely a captain with a formidable Bankai. He represents a significant threat to all due to his sheer strength. Team. The captivating voice commanded their attention. They beheld an exceptionally striking woman with long, golden hair standing at the door, regarding them with a look of disdain. Upon arriving at the mansion, Naruto opted to forego the meeting with Apache and Chiruchi, driven by a strong urgency to assess Yoruichi's condition. He increased his pace as he pursued Yoruichi's scent through the well-known corridors. Her scent led him to the basement, which transformed into Kazuki's underground chamber the moment he opened the door. Tessai and Kazuki were engaged in a serious discussion while seated in front of a coffin. Tessai, you were not present for what I experienced. Aizen effortlessly executed a level 90 Kido spell without a chant. Naruto was correct. He is not merely a captain with a formidable Bankai. He poses a significant threat to everything due to his sheer strength. You all, he said in a patronizing tone, appear to be quite downcast. Kazuki faced him and displayed his characteristic playful smile. You remain in that form, I see. Yoruichi may experience quite a shock if she encounters her favorite individual, transformed into a striking woman. Envisioning Yoruichi's astonished expression, he erupted in laughter. Her heightened reactions were consistently entertaining. This situation is only temporary. I will make the necessary changes before my return to the Soul Society. His laughter diminished as he recalled the seriousness of his circumstances. He needed to finalize his business promptly. If Izan or another individual became aware of his absence and dispatched a search team, it would lead to complications beyond mere awkwardness. The irony of being reported missing after he had taken the initiative to locate Rangaku and Naneo was not lost on him. No, we need to address Shinji's shortcomings directly. He was unable to detect the Ryotsu of Naneo, Lisa, or Izumi within the town. The sole two locations equipped with Ryotsu concealing force fields were those of the Visored and Kazuki. One was destroyed, leaving Lisa with a singular location to facilitate Naneo's healing. She is also receiving some reprimands. Remember to keep Momo in mind. She is accompanied by Sung-sun and Francesca. Naruto utilized Sonido to reach the coffin in an instant. Within the coffin, Yoruichi rested serenely, her hands gently positioned on her abdomen. Her sleeping posture brought a sense of relief to his chest. Observe her resting peacefully, reminiscent of a vampire after an intense confrontation. He distinctly recalled the internal conflict he experienced upon witnessing Aizen dominate her in combat. If the battle had continued for just one more minute, he would have undoubtedly intervened to assist Yoruichi. I'm pleased to hear that, Kazuki remarked, placing a reassuring hand on Naruto's shoulder. Yoruichi-san would have expressed her displeasure regarding the mission's outcome. That is her nature. We successfully avenged her by confronting Aizen directly, Naruto acknowledged with a nod. You have successfully stabilized her soul using the Hogyoku. Yoruichi transformed into a hollow Shinigami hybrid, similar to Shinji, after the Hogyoku stabilized her soul boundaries. Naruto had the capability to eliminate her hollow side using his Resurrection, yet he chose to await her consent before undertaking such a significant action. Naruto, could you provide an update on the outcome of your battle? Was Aizen-san able to delay sufficiently for the Gode 13's reinforcements to arrive? Naruto blinked, taken aback yet impressed by Kazuki's keen insight. Your prediction was accurate as well. This is what we have come to expect from the founding father of the SRDI, Shinigami Research and Development Institute. Kazuki concealed his face behind his paper fan. You were aware of Aizen's strengths and weaknesses from your previous collaboration. I did not wager on your defeat. I did not wager on your victory either. Aizen presents quite a challenging adversary. Indeed, he retreated in a rather undignified manner. The old commander intervened on his behalf today, but I successfully neutralized his Shikai. Kazuki narrowed his eyes, revealing a concealed determination beneath the surface. This presents an optimal opportunity to neutralize him. We must leverage this opening before he regains his Shikai. Naruto had never observed him so enthusiastic about eliminating Aizen. The former shopkeeper ultimately recognized the threat that Aizen represented to himself and the entire Soul Society. Regrettably, Kazuki was unable to access the Soul Society until the Gode 13 lifted his status from the Senkaimon blacklist. Otherwise, he would have confronted Aizen personally. I will attempt to persuade Captain Unohana regarding Aizen. Kazuki directed a discerning side glance in his direction. It has only been approximately 4 months since your arrival in the Soul Society. Does Captain Unohana have sufficient confidence in you to allow you to question a captain's integrity? Trust? She is completely enamored with me. Kazuki's eyes expanded in surprise. Dai Senpei, once regarded as one of the most formidable figures prior to the establishment of the Soul Society. It is difficult for me to envision her experiencing love, even with the charm of your voice. It was merely a jest. I will inquire whether she sensed anything unusual regarding Aizen. Retsu may not have possessed extensive knowledge, yet her instincts were arguably the most acute within the Gode 13. It would be rather unusual for her to overlook inconsistencies in Aizen's narrative. I will gradually assess her. With your current situation. Wait, you don't have that right now. Just as he was poised to respond, a sudden intake of breath caught his attention. Yoruichi's eyes flew open as she gasped for air. Her heart beat with intensity, a cadence so pronounced that Naruto could perceive it without concentrating his senses. He approached her and tore the reishi bindings with his bare hand. Yoruichi gradually leaned into his embrace, her body emanating an intense warmth, reminiscent of a high fever. She delicately wrapped her arms around him, her touch soft yet unsteady, as if she were in a dream-like state. "Naruto, please escort me to the bedroom." "Understood." Naruto gently massaged Yoruichi's back and then directed his attention to Kazuki. "She is experiencing a fever. Do you have any information regarding this? This may be a consequence of her transformation. She will recover with adequate rest. I will ensure she is comfortably settled into bed." He positioned his hands beneath her thighs and secured her legs around his waist firmly. He then provided a secure yet gentle support for her. It appeared to be the most comfortable method for transporting her, aside from the Princess Carrie. She has a well-proportioned figure. That is the expected standard. Lacking breast volume is acceptable, but insufficient curvature in the posterior is simply unacceptable. Fortunately, I am prepared in all situations. Nami appeared quite confident in her physique. Kazuki emitted a whistle. "I perceive your relationship as one that embodies a deep connection, perhaps with an element of intimacy. Wouldn't you agree, Tessai?" Tessai upheld his solemn demeanor. "I have no further remarks." "Lesbian?" Yoruichi inquired, her voice barely above a whisper as she stirred from her slumber. "Soy fan, you are quite misguided." He disregarded the lethargic cat expressing its disdain for a particular passionate captain and swiftly moved towards the door. Upon opening the door, he observed Apache, Chiruchi, Tyr, Mainoli, Stark, and Lilinet gathered at the entrance. He observed that all individuals, with the exception of Tyr, appeared surprised by his female form, which should not have been the case. He had specifically directed Tyr to notify everyone that his change was temporary. Tyr averted her gaze and cleared her throat gently. "I was not being heard. She has acquired a sense of mischief. Partner, mommy is progressing." Chiruchi stifled her laughter, covering her mouth in an effort to maintain composure. "Leader, I was unaware that the Soul Society had inspired a new interest in you." She appeared more vibrant than during their previous meeting. His experiment with cats proved effective in reducing her negativity. Apache positioned her hands on her hips, displaying a look of concern. Harabelle was serious about the situation. "My husband has transitioned into a woman. I'm uncertain about my feelings regarding this change. How will we navigate our intimate life moving forward?" He discerned her whispers with his acute senses. She appeared to be uncertain in determining the most suitable position given his new form. Lilinet playfully patted his backside. "I am eager to know when I will develop these muscles." Stark made an effort to remove Lilinet from the situation, but she responded with a bicycle kick to his shoulder. Stark remained unfazed by her outrageous action, clearly accustomed to the physical aggression. "I mentioned that he will be fine." Lilinet acknowledged with a nod before taking Stark's hand and guiding him away. "Goodbye for now, Naruto." Subsequently, Naruto took a moment to provide reassurance to Apache and Chiruchi, all the while Tyr observed him with evident amusement in her gaze. Ultimately, he turned his attention to the fourth Arrancar present in the room. "Mainoli, I will speak with you later." She responded with a decisive nod. "Thank you." The modest gesture garnered her appreciation. It clearly illustrated the extent of the abuse she endured as Lolly's friend. He directed his attention towards Apache. "Please extend kindness to Mainoli, as she will be joining our group moving forward." Apache recoiled at the allegation. "I did not intend to be unkind to her. I simply advised her against acting impulsively, or I would have to ask her to leave." She was distinct from Sung-sun or Chiruchi, who find satisfaction in emotional or physical suffering. Mainoli nodded in agreement, seeking to gain favor with Apache. Naruto gently placed his hand against Apache's face. "Thank you. Could you assist her in getting settled?" "Certainly. I will handle the miscellaneous tasks." Apache grasped Mainoli's hand and guided her through the corridors. He offered a smile to Tyr before proceeding to his room. Naruto, may I inquire why you seem particularly soft today?" the drowsy kitten asked as he opened the door. "Has a dog taken away all your strength? Those mischievous creatures. May they face the consequences. That is quite amusing." She possesses a remarkable sense of humor. With great care, Naruto ascended into bed alongside Yoruichi, gently guiding her down. She instinctively tightened her grip around his neck, her legs securing around him as if reluctant to release him. "Naruto, she whispered, brushing her tongue against his ear with an unusual dryness. Pet. Accompanying her alluring gesture was a powerful release of Ryotsu. That of a hollow. He felt a surge of alarm, but it was too late. She applied pressure and guided him down onto the bed. Naruto. He applied a gentle pressure to her shoulders, attempting to create some space between them, yet she held onto the bedsheet with a resolute, almost innocent tenacity. With a posture reminiscent of a stalking feline, she advanced, her form bent low against her abdomen. Although she radiated the spiritual energy characteristic of a hollow, her appearance closely mirrored that of her usual self, with the notable addition of two pointed cat ears and a sleek black tail that gracefully swayed behind her. Yoruichi has officially transformed into a certified catgirl. Her feline eyes shone with an intense focus as she gracefully ascended over his chest and gently licked his face. Pet. Naruto. She embraced him, resting her head against his chest, appearing completely at ease in their close proximity. Her form resting against him conveyed a sense of both innocence and intimacy. He carefully extended his hand to make contact with her new cat ears. In a quick response, her eyes opened wide, and she swiftly swatted his hand away with a sharp hiss, an unmistakable signal to maintain personal boundaries. Pet. She turned to the side and held onto him closely. With a soft sound, she leaned against his neck, placing gentle, dry kisses. She assertively positioned her knee on his stomach, as if to ensure her hug pillow remained in place. Please remain. Indeed, you have taken on the role of the comfort pillow. The manner in which she articulated her words conveyed to Naruto the source of her new form. The combination of her newly awakened hollow and the instincts inherent to her feline form. The same instincts she exhibited during her flash war cry, Thunderbeast battle form, was remarkable. The combination of these two elements resulted in a completely new character, a temperamental cat who relied solely on her instincts and regarded him as her pet. It is practically unfeasible to eliminate her hollowification, even with the use of our Resurrection. In his Resurrection form, he possessed the ability to eliminate any specific aspect of his target after draining their Ryotsu. However, in this instance, attempting to separate her hollow from her beast form could lead to disastrous consequences. Eliminating her hollow would result in the loss of her cat form and could potentially remove her most powerful Shunko form. I am quite frustrated. His jaw tightened, yet his frustration dissipated as he observed the dark-skinned catgirl peacefully snoring beside him. He experienced a throbbing sensation in his head at the mere thought of this animal potentially taking Yoruichi's place permanently. She must be inside. He was unwilling to accept the notion that Yoruichi would ever permanently surrender control of her body. She held too much pride for that to occur. There is only one method to ascertain the outcome. We must wait for her to regain consciousness. I currently lack the availability. Then utilize your Resurrection to eliminate her hollow. It ought to rouse her from her slumber. He shook his head, choosing to exercise patience rather than act impulsively. After a brief period of waiting, he made an effort to carefully elevate her knee. She opened her eyes and fixed him with a sharp gaze. She gently patted his chest. Hiss. Pet. He had two options to navigate the challenging situation. The initial approach was rather direct, employing force against Yoruichi. He rejected the notion immediately upon sensing her dry tongue against his face. He was neither a saint nor a monster. Consequently, he opted for his alternative, more tranquil approach, seduction. He activated his system and changed his gender through concentrated effort. A thick purple aura emanated from his chest, gradually surrounding him. Yoruichi reacted swiftly, landing gracefully on the edge of the bed. Her eyes, reminiscent of a feline's, were wide with a blend of curiosity and caution as they focused on him. Are you referring to a pet? As the flame-like aura faded, he discovered himself in his most familiar hollow form. With a smile, he signaled for the catgirl to approach. Please proceed. His voice emerged soft yet authoritative, imbued with captivating strength. He maximized the effectiveness of his ability, Silvery Tongue, surpassing even his hypnotic session with Apache. Unable to resist the compelling suggestion implanted in her consciousness, Yoruichi gradually approached him, a dazed expression on her face. She positioned herself in front of him, maintaining a steady gaze directed at him. Naruto. As Naruto reached out his hand towards her, she instinctively attempted to withdraw. Please hold. The single word paused her actions, permitting him to softly stroke her cat ears. She reacted favorably, engaging with his touch, her tail moving with satisfaction. "Well done, pet." He gently scratched her ears, stroked her hair, and rubbed her face with care. Once she had completely lowered her defenses through closeness, he leaned in towards her ears. "Rest." The compelling suggestion caused her to tremble as she attempted to withstand its impact. "I instructed you to sleep." The command was executed flawlessly, inducing a profound and tranquil sleep. He positioned her on the bed and gently covered her with the blanket, his hand softly brushing against her face. "Wishing you a restful night, Yoruichi. I would like to meet with you upon my return." He enveloped himself in several sound-canceling Kido spells and exited the room. Outside the room, Tear stood with her arms crossed, leaning against the wall. "Has there been an incident involving Yoruichi?" "Tear." Naruto approached her and enveloped her in a reassuring embrace, resting his chin on her shoulder. "I must depart shortly." He would have succumbed if not for the synergy of his remarkable regeneration ability and rapid Raryoku recovery time. The challenges of the day had rendered him mentally fatigued, yet his weariness vanished in her comforting embrace. That is not a valid justification for feeling depressed. She offered a reassuring touch on his back, despite her own hesitation about his departure. "Consider all the connections you established in the Soul Society. They may express concern if you do not return to them promptly. Indeed. Would you like to join me in a moment of relaxation?" He promptly withdrew and indicated his disapproval by shaking his head. "I am only being honest with you when we proceed to the next stage." She regarded him intently, as though contemplating his words. Her cheeks colored as she acknowledged with a gentle smile. "I will defer the timing to your discretion. I look forward to our next meeting." As Tear moved past him, he noticed a goth girl glancing around the corner. Before he had the opportunity to engage with her, she disappeared using Sonido, swiftly returning to her room. "What was that?" "She wishes to have a conversation with me." "Let us proceed to check on Momo. She must be quite concerned about not having seen you for hours." Naruto was unable to encounter his fellow Shinigami such as Rangaku, Naneo, or Momo while in his hollow form. He needed to transform into a soul and don his academy uniform, which he currently did not have in his possession. Following the defeat of Zamari, Naruto employed Bakudo No. 26 Kyoko, a basic Kido spell that refracted light around the target, to effectively eliminate any pursuers. As he proceeded to meet Aizen, he discarded his academy kimono in an abandoned warehouse. He transformed into his human form and asked Kazuki to detach his soul from his body. "I would like to inform you that I left those students and a vice captain in the basement of my former shop." Tessai elaborated on Kazuki's casual report, stating, "Her name was Rangaku Matsumoto. It is advisable to confirm this matter to ensure that Captain Yamamoto does not depart without conducting an investigation of the shop." "Understood. I will take care of that. Goodbye for now." With a succinct farewell, he exited the basement, carrying his physical body in his hands. Due to time constraints, he placed the body in Tear's room. Upon executing Bakudo No. 26 Kyoko on himself, he departed from the mansion. Aizen and Jin traveled to the Soul Society, yet the third member of their group, Tosen, was not present. He was unable to move about freely, as the blind captain might be monitoring Karakura town from a concealed location. That is the location. He leapt through the shattered window, discarded his current attire, and donned the Shino Academy's kimono. As with every traditional Japanese garment, the process of wearing the kimono is notably intricate. "Partner, you have yet to share how you transitioned genders." "In the same manner that I change races." Embers of renewal. Azure and purple flames consistently appeared during his transformations related to gender or race. He referred to them as flames of rebirth, as they enabled him to transform into a new form. "Understood. Are they applicable for any other purposes?" "Currently, there are no updates." Intense flames exhibiting a capability that approaches time manipulation, red flames embodying the essence of total annihilation, and blue flames demonstrating the ability to transform at will. Shinku no Aurora, Izanami no Makoto. Who is the Zanpakuto spirit for the 3rd division? The inquiry presented by Nami caused him to halt momentarily while adjusting his hakama. He focused intently, a multitude of intriguing theories emerging in his mind, the most common of which was nearly alarming. He consistently believed that the template system enabled him to evaluate his capabilities and adjust his standing, as it was based on principles beyond the Bleach universe. However, the system accomplished the race, gender switching through a distinctive flame. The flames that emerged from within him. The system originates from this universe. According to the reasoning, a formidable entity must have perceived his thoughts when he was reincarnated as a weak hollow. Utilizing the information derived from his memories, a system was developed and subsequently integrated with him. No individual in Bleach possesses that level of power, unless it is the Soul King himself. He deliberately allowed the thought to resonate in his mind, mirroring the way he conversed with Nami. The absence of a response from Nami further intensified his uncertainties. The system was a highly influential entity with the capability to eliminate any reference to its existence. Hypothetically speaking, it could be the Soul King. What could be his motive for this? Is he seeking to be reincarnated through me? During his peak, the Soul King surpassed the power of Yuacha's ultimate form. The nobles confined him and subsequently disfigured his remains. The Soul King did not offer any resistance. He sacrificed himself to allow the three realms to thrive without a singular authority. Following such a death, it would be illogical for the Soul King to select an arbitrary human from an alternate universe to serve as a vessel for his resurrection. I believe I may be overanalyzing this situation. He dismissed the irrational thoughts from his mind. To be candid, Nami, I am uncertain at this moment. You reside within my inner world. It is important to be aware of the contents and what is excluded. That is not a reasonable suggestion, partner. Your inner world is boundless. I do not venture beyond this island. I am uncertain. It seems likely that it involves another attractive individual. I would like to present my theory. Aurora, our daughter, exhibited behavior typical of a devoted child, desiring her master to meet her ideal standards. I possess maturity, though my experience aligns closely with yours. I regard myself as your equal in every respect. Based on logical reasoning, the third will hold a rank that is one position higher. Are you suggesting this one will be a mother, or perhaps even more seasoned? Dear partner, she will guide you towards becoming a well-behaved individual. I already have a mother. Her name is Tyr Harabel. It has been suggested that having two is entirely acceptable. We have arrived. I wanted to engage in some light-hearted banter with you. During a conversation with the unique Nami, he arrived at Sung Sun's flower shop. Due to his concealment and the complete suppression of his Ryutsu, the two ladies did not emerge to welcome him. Are you confident that women will notice you? No, only individuals with exceptionally keen senses could aspire to locate him. Remarkably, the majority of his partners fell into that category, including Izumi. As an overly attached and intensely focused individual, she arguably stood as much chance as Apache. I will follow up with Izumi after this. Due to the limited strength of her Ryutsu, he was unable to determine her location. Do you think that individual remained at home after noticing her Otouto-kun confronting a hollow? No, it is likely that Lisa escorted her to the Vizard's base. With the understanding that Izumi was not Quincy, Lisa may have considered disclosing her secret to Izumi. Such was his conjecture. He entered Sung Sun's flower shop and observed the interior with interest. Sung Sun meticulously pruned a bonsai plant, fully focused on creating a work of art. Mila Rose, in contrast, positioned herself behind the counter, rhythmically tapping the ground as though anticipating someone's arrival. Momo was found leaning against the wall, completely unconscious. That is the reason she was unable to assist you. The unfortunate girl was attacked by your associates. A sudden gust of wind entered the shop, startling Mila Rose. She became alert and inhaled deeply, assessing the surroundings. Skull. That is Skull. Hello. Please stop concealing yourself. I am aware of your presence. Sung Sun turned around with a smile. Welcome back, dear. Mila Rose ascended the reception table and leapt towards him. Skull. He composedly caught her, allowing the exuberant lioness to wrap her arms around him. I was very eager to step in and confront those individuals causing you distress. I disregarded my instincts and followed Sung Sun's advice. It was quite challenging to remain seated and wait, but I managed to do so. Gently caressing her back, he placed a kiss on her forehead. I commend your resilience. It would be detrimental for me if anyone from the Soul Society witnessed your assistance in that situation. She raised her gaze with a radiant smile. Thank you. Thank you. Sung Sun approached him with a courteous smile. It appears that my advice was not heeded, resulting in an unfortunate incident. He cast a brief look at Momo. Thank you for taking the time to stop by. I would not have been able to ensure her safety independently. Sung-sun acknowledged him with a nod and embraced him from the side. Darling, I have deep affection for you. Pardon? I would like to express that, she whispered. The intensity of the strong Ryotsu was somewhat intimidating. Mila Rose's arms quivered slightly. She embraced him firmly and gently rested his face against her chest. I also love you. She suddenly leaned in closer to his face and inhaled his scent. The scent resembles that of Yoruichi's human form's saliva. Additionally, her fragrance is present on you. How do you know her saliva's smell? That's not the important question, hubby. Sung-sun pressed his chin against her shaking eyes. Hubby, we were worried sick for your safety here. You could have said hello here before mating the wildcat. Yeah. You should have shaboinked her after meeting us. Why did you do that? They encourage you to cheat on them. Everyone needs a wife like that. Shaboinked? Sung-sun broke out laughing. Francesca, you perv. Where did you find that word? Naruto couldn't help but grin after hearing their grumbles. They cared deeply for him. Such devotion often came with enormous expectations. When he did not match their expectations, they expressed their dissatisfaction. This is a healthy relationship, he nodded as Nami said. Sung-sun, Francesca, Yoruichi, after a short explanation, the two gazed at one another in silence. Hubby, please forgive me. I'm such a bad wife for doubting my husband's character. Me too, I'm sorry. He held them both in his arms. I'll forgive you on one condition. If it ever happens in the future, you won't bury it in your chest. But you'll come to me and say it to my face like today. He hoped his partnerships would endure a long time. Sorting out their personal concerns with him on a regular basis would only draw them closer and deeper into understanding. Sung-sun pecked his face. Deal. Mila Rose grinned and head-butted his chest. You bet I will. Skull, can you stay today? I want to. The glint of longing in her eyes could not be more obvious. He softly shook his head. Shoo. Sung-sun pushed a finger to his lips and pointed at Momo. She is awake. Momo's fingers twitched, and her eyelids opened slowly. She sat up and wiped her sleepy eyes. Naruto shoved the two out the door and instructed them to wait outside. He rushed to Momo's side and took her hand. Naruto-kun, sleep, he said firmly, imbuing the word with all of his charm. Sleep for a while. Her head drooped as her mind wandered to the realm of dreams. He raised her and carefully placed her on the counter. Wait here. We'll go back after I get Naneo. Lisa could be seen sitting in a poorly lit room with her arms crossed, her gaze fixed on the black-haired lady laying on the bed. Time flew by when I was here. Naneo has altered during a 50-year period that appeared both eternal and fleeting. Lisa was no longer the youngster she recalled reading tales to in the Soul Society. Instead, she had grown into a sophisticated beauty. Her elegance was only accentuated by the pair of spectacles that rested by her bedside. Lisa, on the other hand, had not altered a bit. The aging of souls was one of the interesting mysteries that no one in the Soul Society seemed interested in. I wonder what Naruto thought when he met her. Did he mistake her for my sister? Lisa couldn't help but smirk as she imagined an unpleasant moment in which Naruto implicitly probed Naneo about their connection. The dream broke as she remembered his explicit rejection of their date. TCH, that kid is cocky. I'll teach him a lesson eventually. But first, I had to bring him to Izumi. She forgot about her vow to Izumi. Normally, she wouldn't worry about petty things, but Izumi had become a very dear person to her. The former Quincy had turned from a wealthy mistress to a half-pervert obsessed with acquiring the seed of her brother. A brother who was both Quincy and a hollow, and who now disguised as a Shinigami in the Soul Society. The web of falsehoods that had grown around him was nasty, but it was also one of the most interesting aspects of her life at the moment. It will either end with Naruto messing things up or fucking Izumi up. She'd choose the latter. In fact, she would gladly serve as Izumi's bridesmaid during their wedding. Hold on, if they get married, wouldn't I permanently become his maid? She had never given the topic much attention, but now she had to deal with the repercussions of shifting dynamics. Living with Izumi had become her new norm, and she didn't want it to alter anytime soon. Three of us share a flat. Her thoughts started to spin, plunging into dark fancies far off from reality. She imagined the groom, Naruto, taking the bridesmaid into the wedding chamber and compelling Izumi to see his heinous crime of claiming the bridesmaid's innocence with the fervor and passion of a demon. Lost in these illicit fantasies, Lisa's hand moved on its own, sliding under the fabric of her skirt. A whimper from her lips, gradually progressing to full-blown groans. Consumed by passion, she lost all feeling of guilt and indulged herself. A few minutes later, the lady, who had been flaming with forbidden passion, could be seen sagging in the chair, unkempt and sleepy. Each shivering breath caused her chest to rise and fall in uneven waves. She carefully removed her hand from her skirt and glanced at her fingers, which were smeared with her sticky body fluids, live testimony of her wicked actions. The symptoms of post-orgasm syndrome made her feel like she had done a serious transgression. What the fuck? She tightened her hand, a sense of remorse building in her chest. She had masturbated to the weird dream of being pounded by Naruto, her friend's husband. What's worse was her imagined scenario. She had been forced to commit the job, but she enjoyed every minute of it like a total degenerate. I didn't simply get off to that. No, I did not. I'm not a lusty bitch like the female protagonist in Boss and Secretary novels. She chose to pretend it never occurred and buried the memories deep in her chest, beside another terrible memory. I've got to change. But my clothes are back in the flat. Lisa exited the room after assuring Nanao hadn't awoken from the moaning to clean her hands and arrange her look. She did not want Nanao or anybody else to see her present look. Nanao's senses gradually returned as she awoke to the soothing light of an unknown environment. She gently sat up and wiped her eyes, attempting to dispel the fog of grogginess. An odd aroma remained in the air, but she opted to ignore it for now. Her eyesight, still blurry without her glasses, confirmed her suspicions. This was neither her quarters or the Gote 13's medical wing. Instead, everything about this room, from the bed to the furnishings, suggested that it belonged in the living world. An unexpected flash of remembrance shocked her. I passed out, that Arankar. The vivid memories of the meeting at the power plant filled her mind, each scene reliving with excruciating clarity. She shook uncontrollably as phantom agony from the Arankar's savage attack raced through her. The savage kicks and punches had damaged many bones in her body. Holding her arm, she saw layers of gauze wrapping over her chest and wrists. It was clear that someone had not only saved her from the battlefield, but also hired Kaido to cure her injuries with such precision that the previous night's fighting seemed distant. But she couldn't feel relieved as the weight of her failure fell on her. I should have fought more decisively. Her self-reproach was suddenly stopped by a voice that was both familiar and surprising. The students will be fine, the voice said, as the door cracked open, exposing the source of the reassurance. The image that greeted Nanao temporarily removed all signs of agony and astonishment. Everything was neatly handled by that slab of delicious meat. Lisa Ne-san. Lisa casually sat on the chair and draped her leg over the other, her smile mischievous. Long time no see, Nao-chan. Did you miss this, Oni-san? Nanao blinked her big eyes and pinched her cheeks. Then she blinked again, as if unable to comprehend what she was seeing. She had traveled to Karakura town to find Lisa, and here she was sitting in front of her. It was like a dream, or was it a dream? She couldn't tell the difference after being beaten to pulp by the Arankar. Lisa giggled, amused. Your glasses are by the bedside. Nanao grabbed her spectacles and quickly put them on. I'm still seeing Lisa Ne-san. How'd I wake up from this dream? Dreams and reality are interchangeable. No, they are not, Nanao said. Lisa Ne-san, are you real? Lisa stood from her seat and unfastened her shirt. She gently shifted the bra covering her right breast, pointing to the large mole just outside her areola. Remember this? Nanao seemed to be in a fog, reliving experiences from a century ago. Back when she was younger. One night, she went to Lisa's room to tell her a tale from the book, only to see the vice captain sitting entirely nude. That night, Lisa shrugged and pulled her top back on. It wasn't my fault. I was sweating a bucket after working out. Lisa successfully omitted the twisted element of her amusing exercise, which included a sexy novel and her quick fingers. Nanao nodded slowly as the truth set in. Then, all of a sudden, feelings that had been suppressed for so long emerged. She couldn't keep herself together as she was overcome with relief, excitement, and the bizarre nature of their reunion. She sprang off the bed, led more by emotion than reason, and embraced Lisa in a fierce hug that brought them both sliding to the ground. "Ne-san," she said, her voice muffled by Lisa's breast. "I'm so glad to meet you again, so glad to see you're fine." Lisa hugged her back and softly massaged her hair. "Silly girl, why will I not be fine?" Nanao backed away and brushed her tears away. "I read some horrible reports that were traced back 100 years ago. Every one of the reports listed you as a unique, hollow. You were to be purged. But seeing you just reassured me of the corruption rooted in the nobility." Lisa chuckled uncomfortably. "Now Chan, those reports were true." "Huh? What are you saying?" But their chat was cut short by a sudden change in the mood. Lisa's gaze shifted to the door, her countenance somber as she felt a familiar spiritual pressure. "Captain?" they both said, nearly simultaneously, but their tones couldn't have been more different. Nanao's was full of promise, but Lisa's was filled with seriousness. Nanao didn't appear to notice Lisa's doubt as she grabbed her hand and dashed out of the room. Meanwhile, on the other side, Izumi walked into Shinji's headquarters. The apartment seemed run down from the outside but was really clean inside. Her jaw dropped wide as she saw the enormous subterranean cavern drenched in natural sunlight like lights. Looks can be deceiving. Izumi had heard Lisa's phrase many times before, but she had never comprehended what it meant until today. After her first amazement subsided, she spotted 6 people standing imposingly, each with an overpowering presence. They were much more strong than her. Did I enter the tiger's den? She had no desire to turn back. Any risk was worth it if it meant she could finally hug Naruto again. Shunsui walked forward and waved cheerfully, entirely disregarding the wrath thrown at him. Shinji, I think it would be a lot better if you explained the situation to everyone." "Shinji," Hiyori shouted, launching herself at Shinji. "I'll kill you." Shinji calmly received Hiyori's fatal kick, which was perfectly targeted for his family jewels. "Hiyori, relax. Shunsui-san will go away in a few minutes." "That's not the problem, dumbass," Hiyori shot back, pointing at Shunsui. You exposed our base to a Shinigami. Do you want them to capture us for execution?" "He isn't any Shinigami, Hiyori. He is Shunsui Kiraku, the man who has always looked out for us in the Soul Society." He utterly silenced Hiyori with his serious and strong tone, which he had seldom employed in the living world. "He won't expose us. I'll take full accountability if he does." "Shinji, you..." Hiyori hesitated, refusing to debate more. "Have it your way." Shinji nodded and addressed the rest of the group. "You guys got any objections?" Kensai gently shook his head, his countenance solemn. "No, I trust Shunsui-san as much as I trust you." Although he seldom spoke with Shunsui, he and Shunsui always had chats during the captain meeting. Shunsui, based on his observations, was more likely to skirt the rules, if not breach them, than to act on whim. Someone like him would not betray them. Love zipped his tracksuit and flipped his sunglasses. "Ain't winning no war without trusting the comrade walking shoulder to shoulder with you." Shinji let out a sigh. "Not another manga reference," Rose chuckled. "Shunsui-san, don't betray us. My guitar would mourn if we lose an ally." "Hey, those two are here." Shunsui hesitated and looked around. His vice-captain stood at the entrance above, with his old vice-captain. Despite the fact that they had no relatives in common, they seemed to be siblings when they were together. He rushed up to Nanao's side and embraced her in his arms. "Nanao-chan, I thought I lost you." His earnestness astonished Nanao, but she eventually sank into his arm. "I thought the same, Captain," Nanao said. "It was a crazy experience. It'll be fine from now. I'll protect you." Lisa took a step back to enjoy the uncle and niece hugging one another. Her grin faded as she caught sight of Izumi standing at Shinji's side. "I am not in my Gigai either." Her Shinigami roots would be exposed if she approached Izumi in her soul form. The amorous daydreams in the bedroom had already made her feel bad about Izumi. The added strain of being probed made her want to run away. However, the notion of possibly injuring her companion kept her feet planted. No more falsehoods. It's time to be really honest. She found the courage to tell Izumi everything about herself, putting a stop to the act of deception once and for all. Nanao pushed Shunsui aside before returning her attention to Lisa. "Ne-san, aren't you going to greet Captain?" She considered it strange that Lisa didn't seem pleased to see Shunsui, her old captain. "Do I have to?" Lisa inquired, chuckling and waving to Shunsui. "It's good to see you, Captain. Now Chan became a fine vice captain in my absence, didn't she?" "She absolutely did," Shunsui said with a warm grin. "Lisa-chan, forgi." Lisa launched a fist at his chin, ending his apologies. "You abandoned your comrades to find Nanao. What kind of disgraceful captain are you?" Shunsui's being here meant he didn't help the Shinigami battle the Arankars. Shunsui massaged his chin, winced, and adopted a serious face. "I'll abandon any mission if Nanao-chan is in danger." His calm announcement would have made any lady flutter, but Nanao was more angry than happy. If she had held her book, she would have slammed it into his face. "Seriously, Captain? Are you out of your mind? What if someone died?" Lisa opened her eyes as she turned around to see the familiar voice. A hand brushed aside the light veil. Naruto emerged out of the Kido spell with a stern expression on his face. "I almost died out there. Uncle Ishin almost died out there. Azane, your friend, barely escaped death. Captain Kiraku, your hastiness almost led to a complete wipe. Naruto." Nanao approached and bent her head. "I'm sorry for my incompetence. If only It's not your fault, Nanao," Shunsui remarked, pulling Nanao out of her bowing position. "You are Naruto, right? The Naruto who has been making waves in the Soul Society." Shunsui had no idea his first contact with the notorious future captain would be under these conditions. Naruto, of course, saw Izumi when he slipped into the Vizard's basement. If Lisa hadn't been there with Nanao and Shunsui, he would have left her alone. Lisa didn't seem panicked or overwhelmed. She had summoned the confidence to reveal her relationship with the Vizard. He would never have a better chance to explain the truth and prevent Izumi from being unduly anxious about his absence. He could always use his voice to keep Izumi's stress levels under control. Hypnosis is evil. Better than losing Izumi. He couldn't care less about the ethical implications of utilizing hypnosis when doing so may lead to a tragic outcome. Shunsui turned to Nanao. "Should I take his silence as a yes?" "Yeah, he is Naruto Uzumaki," Nanao said, misinterpreting Naruto's silence as anger. "You better say thanks to him." Nanao didn't have the complete story, but she did know two things. Shunsui had abandoned his mission to locate her, and Naruto had stepped up to slaughter the Arankars, rescuing Izan, Rangaku, and Captain Shiba in the process. If any high-ranking member perished on this assignment, Shunsui would face an immediate trial before Council 46. Shunsui caressed his nape and smiled stupidly. "It won't look sincere with just my words. How about we go out for a drink later?" Naruto shrugged lazily. "Let's just return to the Soul Society first. We'll have to brief everything to the General Commander." Shunsui shuddered at the thought of Yamamoto. "Old man must have one hell of a punishment in store for me." Even although Shunsui was like a son to Yamamoto, he was not going to let him off the hook lightly. Naruto smiled. "Isn't that better?" Before he could continue speaking, a person sped by Shunsui utilizing Hirenkyaku, Quincy's high-speed mobility. Izumi, the only Quincy in the neighborhood, rushed herself into his arms. Uto. She hugged him as soon as she detected his Ryotsu. She didn't notice his present attire or his soul form for that matter. He replied with a gentle stroke on her back and a comforting grin. "Izumi, what happened?" I was worried. You were there, then you disappeared. I thought something happened to you." "Just a little scuffle with some minor hollows. Nothing to worry about," he said effortlessly, his palm softly stroking her hair to calm her. "Ready to go home?" She clung to him, her hold revealing her dread of losing him again. "Carry me, please, you spoiled lil princess." He grinned and teasingly squeezed her buttocks, completely oblivious to the three persons in front of him. Uto-kun," she muttered, drawing a trembling breath. She pushed back slightly and raised her arms, enveloping his neck. Then, in a bold and emotional gesture, she kissed his lips. His eyes shocked at her unexpected bravery. Their first kiss surprised him, and the second was hers. She evened the score. While enjoying her soft lips, he unsheathed his katana and cut the air. Flames erupted from the blade, cascading into a blazing barrier that surrounded them, concealing their private moment from Lisa and the others' prying gaze. He needed to show love to the needy yandere. Outside the blazing curtain, Shunsui and Nanao exchanged perplexed looks. Nanao misinterpreted the circumstances and thought that Naruto was pursuing one of Lisa's acquaintances from the living world. Shunsui, on the other hand, was aware of the deeper truths of Izumi's Quincy background. Naruto is her Ototo, how is that possible? Lisa said with a knowing grin, pushing Shunsui lightly. They're not related by blood, but by passion. But he is a Shinigami. She is a Quincy. A former Quincy, Lisa corrected her former captain, sighing as she remembered Naruto's passionate kiss with Izumi. She is a hopeless maiden in love now. Nanao felt very alone. She grabbed Shunsui and Lisa's sleeves and had them tell her about Naruto and Izumi's connection. As he quietly closed the door behind him, Shunsui explained his side of the tale. Lisa quickly got into a dangerous situation. She had to either tell the truth about Naruto or lie to the two individuals who thought of her as family. No, I can't talk about his most private secret. She cleared her throat and added, I'll let Naruto speak for himself. The flame wall broke apart as she spoke, and Izumi's face became red. It was clear that she was in love with him. Lisa didn't know whether Izumi was purposely ignoring his kimono or just didn't care that he was a member of the Soul Society. I think it's a little of both. Naruto's face became serious. Look at me, Izumi. She looked up at him, confused. That's... No, I'm not a Shinigami. He shut his eyes and reached inside his mind. As curving horns came out of both sides of his head, his skin got a little lighter. A pair of black wings sprouted out from behind him and spread out across a huge area. I've always been a hollow. His disclosure was honest and straightforward, showing all three people there who he really was. Nanao gasped and put her palm over her mouth. Her Ryutsu sprang up because she was so shocked by what she had seen. Shunsui seemed both interested and intimidated by his might. Izumi remained still, her pulse racing as she realized that her beloved Ototo was not a Quincy but a hollow. Lisa smiled slightly, fully behind his choice to end the web of falsehoods. Oh boy, you've really done it now. You can't go back from this. Until you murder everyone. Don't be mad, partner, it was a joke. Izumi stretched out and touched the harsh surface of his horn with a shaky palm. It's real. How is this even possible? Three of them were just as amazed as they were scared that he may change race at any time. Naruto smiled wryly and massaged the back of his head. Each Arrancar has a special power. I can easily flip between being a human and being a hollow. If I get rid of my physical body while I'm still human, I can become a Shinigami. This Ryutsu. Shunsui murmured with his eyes squinted. You were out there battling Aizen. Why did you join the Soul Society and help us fight the Arrancars? Lisa put her hand on Shunsui's shoulder. He was helping us. Aizen. She spoke about the night the Visored were hollowified, Aizen's desire to push the boundaries of Shinigami, and Naruto's reasons for pretending to be a Shinigami. Naruto also helped fill in the gaps, including Aizen's true goal in putting the whole plot together to get Kazuki to give up his Hogyoku. Nanao, who had no idea what was going on with Lisa, was shocked by how much Aizen had betrayed her. Shunsui felt the pain of betrayal considerably more since he understood how it would affect other people in a bigger way. Because they were close to Aizen, both Tosen and Jin may be traitors. Shunsui folded his arms and looked far away. I was confident of Kazuki's innocence myself. I never thought he was the kind of person who would hurt someone on purpose. Naruto smiled knowingly. Once again, Aizen is setting him up. To me, Aizen always appeared like a guy with a lot of secrets. But who would have guessed his betrayal went that far? Lisa put her hand on Shunsui's shoulder. Captain, yes, I believe everything they told me, Shunsui responded to Lisa with a soft expression. Nanao-chan doesn't seem to trust Naruto. Nanao didn't say anything when she was accused. She turned to Naruto a few seconds later. Please correct me if I say anything incorrect. You came to Karakura town to keep your hollow friends safe from a hollow that was harmful. You ran into Izumi and met Lisa Ne-san via her. Then you met Kazuki Urahara and went to the Soul Society to win over the people who were close to Captain Commander. All of this was done to find out what Captain Aizen was up to. He nodded with conviction. That's the main point. Why would you put your life on the line like that? Nanao asked in a voice that was calm and almost frigid. You didn't gain anything by exposing Captain Aizen, but you could have lost everything by going into the realm of Shinigami. She didn't doubt Lisa for a second, but she wanted to know why he was risking his life for the Soul Society. He shrugged and said, I owe Kazuki a favor. I also have some hazy recollections of being killed by Aizen's blade. It's also a way for me to get back at someone. Yes. Aizen blames Kazuki for his crimes, and you blame him for crimes he didn't commit. I would think they earned it. Nanao softly nodded, showing that he understood. Thanks for telling us your secret. I'm sorry for not believing you before. Why would you not question my motive? With Lisa serving as a go-between, he had successfully told Shunsui and Nanao about Aizen's lies. Izumi was the last one left, and her face was thoughtful and introspective. He was really relieved that she hadn't suffered a breakdown. Izumi, say something. She looked up, and a deep frown crossed her face. Naruto, you went deep into enemy territory to assist Lisa and the others. You kept me together while I was crumbling apart like a sandcastle without asking for anything in return. Your actions show how much you care and how committed you are. Well, you treated me like family at first. I was merely returning the favor. Things simply got worse from there. She shook her head. It wasn't because I was kind. I intended to utilize you to help my race come back to life. She left out her intention to make him the leader and have him get every willing Quincy lady pregnant. I knew what you were going to do from the start. I stayed to help you carry the load. I see. Izumi grabbed his hand and put it on her chest. I still love you in my heart. That can't be changed. No, I don't want everything to end over a little issue. Will you still be my Oto-Oto-kun? Naruto let out a sigh of relief. I won't give it up for anything in the world. I'm so happy. She grinned and kissed the palm of his hand. You too, Lisa. I don't care whether you're a hollow or a Shinigami. You are still a kind buddy to me, even if you are a little bit of a pervert. That wasn't nice. Lisa laughed and spoke at the same time as she gave Izumi a side hug. Thank you, Izumi-sama. Is it okay if I still work for you? No, Izumi shook her head and smiled at Naruto. I'll go with Oto-Oto-kun wherever he goes. It doesn't matter whether it's Soul Society or Hueco Mundo. Naruto had a shiver down his back. It seemed like she was going to follow him no matter what. Oto-Oto-kun. I promise to work hard to learn everything I need to know to help. I may also become a Shinigami by leaving my body behind. Shunsui laughed loudly. I can get you into the Shino Academy. You may learn how to be a Shinigami there. Azumi's eyes gleamed. Thank you, Shunsui-san. He smiled at Naruto and replied, the pleasure is all mine. Nanao can also help you with the basics to cut down on the time it takes to graduate. Nanao's eyebrows moved. I'll try. Naruto looked at him with a blank face. You can get Captain Commander to deal with Aizen. Captain Yamamoto should be able to kill him now that Kyoka Suigetsu is out of the way. Of course, he wanted to go back, but he couldn't appear like he was desperate in front of them. Someone else could take care of his sole goal in the Soul Society. There was a grin on Shunsui's face. I can't help you with your mission, young man. Why? I don't have enough power to make old man Yamamoto use his Shikai against Aizen. He could only be convinced of the real stakes by someone as senior as Hana. You need to follow your strategy and tell Dai Senpai about Aizen's plot. Nanao pulled on his sleeve. That's not right. He should know that you won't lie about these kinds of things. You don't get him like I do, Nanao-chan. I can't make sure he understands Aizen's danger by myself. Naruto massaged his chin. I wasn't wrong when I said Shinigami was bad at his job. Shunsui laughed. You were completely correct. Nanao-chan, come with me for a minute. Naruto grasped the secret meaning in his playful wink. Nanao and Shunsui left the store, leaving him alone with Lisa and Izumi. The erotica lover seemed upset that Izumi was leaving her behind, but she didn't say anything about it. He moved closer and held her in his arms. She seems very sad. Izumi, you should remain with her. Lisa pulled him away and gave him a murderous look. I can get by on my own like I always have. Azumi's fantasy existence with you is more essential than everything else. She thought to herself that it would be a great existence for her but misery for everyone else. Izumi squinted. Oto-Oto-kun. I'll stay here with Lisa. Your job is to show that Lisa is not guilty. We may both move in with you to the Soul Society. Lisa bowed her head and crossed her arms. That's good too.
See you then. I'll do my best in the Soul Society to make it happen.
He kissed Izumi again and embraced Lisa before running out of the warehouse. Izumi stroked her lips, as if she liked the warmth he had left there. Ododo. Come on, Izumi, I am a little hungry. Before Lisa could depart, Izumi took her hand. Lisa, the sight of desire in your eyes. If I'm not wrong, you have some affections for Ododo-kun. Lisa didn't say yes or no to what Izumi said, but her silence was enough to show that she was starting to like him.
She could hear Naruto's cocky voice in her brain saying, Maid-chan, did my rejection make you fall for me? She couldn't help but laugh. Just a quick crush. A little space will make things better. Lisa, we're friends. I don't want you to hide how you feel because of me. Naruto had previously informed her that he was seeing other people. It wouldn't be a problem for him to include Lisa, her closest friend, in his harem. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for myself. She turned around and put her hands on Izumi's shoulders. I don't want to ruin your relationship because I want to have sex with you. Before I commit to him, I need to be sure these emotions are real. Izumi nodded, feeling satisfied with her reason. I'm glad to hear that you're taking it seriously. You know, Izumi, it really is. I've never felt this way about any guy before, mainly because I never considered anyone as a potential partner until I met this cheeky guy. It's all about the language, Lisa. Izumi-sama. After a little break, they both started laughing uncontrollably. Naruto told Shunsui to check out Sung-sun's flower shop before heading back to his mansion to grab Yoruichi. Izumi welcomed you pretty effortlessly, partner. I really thought she was about to have another meltdown. I suppose she loves me that much. She'll stick to you like glue. Nami. You both should vibe as fellow yanderes. Naruto knew that his lovers weren't all getting along perfectly. But he really needed to keep the peace among the yanderes, or else things could turn into a full-on battle royale. Nami let out a frustrated click of her tongue.
We might not have much in common, but our love for you is what brings us together. I'll make an effort for you, partner. I knew you'd get where I'm coming from. That's because we're meant to be together. Partner. So, are we actually letting Shinji go? I'll catch up with him next time. Sharing the secret really took a huge load off his shoulders, even if it did take longer than it probably should have. With a clear conscience, he could now focus all his energy on taking down Aizen. Hey partner, don't you think it would be a good idea to take the Hogyoku from Kazuki and merge it with yours? I'm going to see how far I can push my natural limits before I go for the Hogyoku. He still hadn't tapped into his full potential as both a Shinigami and an Arankar.
Getting a good handle on both would really maximize the benefits of the Hogyoku. Are you really backing down just because of Aizen's crazy forms? Nope. With the ability to be reborn, he could just think about it and change his looks and shape. The only thing on my mind was Soul King's Royal Guards, Squad Zero. Aizen's Hogyoku transformation didn't raise any alarms, but Naruto, probably born from a fragment of the Soul King, would definitely catch the eye of Ichibei and the others. It's always a good idea to be cautious, right? As he stepped into the mansion, he leaned in to give Apache a kiss at the door before heading off to his room. As he stood in front of the door, he found himself thinking about Schrodinger's cat experiment. Do you think she'll return to her normal self? Or could she end up acting like a wild cat? Just kick the door down. He chuckled lightly as he swung the door open, and there was Yoruichi sitting on the edge of the bed. Her cat ears perked up as she looked down, wrapped in a vibe of sadness. It was surprising to see her so down after everything that happened tonight. Who would have thought? Yoruichi. His gentle voice pulled her out of her daydreams, drawing her focus back to the room. Naruto, she shouted, her eyes sparkling with pure joy that was a complete turnaround from how she was feeling before. Taking a moment to collect herself, she leapt towards him. Catch me. Today felt like it was all about catching women in midair. Shaking off his thoughts, he happily welcomed the warm embrace of the dark-skinned catgirl. I've never seen you like that before. Is it because of your hollowification? I'm really sorry I let that happen. If he had just gotten to her a bit earlier, maybe he could have saved her from going through this change. Yoruichi pulled back a bit and squinted her eyes. Are you serious right now? She was really wrestling with her choice to stick with the students, a decision that, looking back, had held her back from helping him take on the Arankars. She wasn't careful enough, and it almost let Aizen use her as a pawn. He threatened Kazuki and was close to getting the Hogyoku. A move that could have led to some serious trouble. Could you clarify what you mean? She playfully tapped his chest. I really let my guard down and Aizen got the best of me. Honestly, I should have been done for. But you showed up just in time to save me. Do you regret that? No way. She relaxed a bit, and a smile appeared on her face. So, I guess I owe you an apology too. I put my duty to the students first instead of being there with you against the invaders. I suppose our apologies just balance each other out, right? He just couldn't hold back a laugh. Her way of comforting him felt a bit intimidating. Got it? Can you turn into your cat form? She tilted her head, clearly curious. Are we heading out? Sure. She stepped back a bit and then jumped toward him. In a swirl of smoke, she changed right there in the air, leaving her black bodysuit behind. She perched on his shoulder, letting out some menacing hisses, her Ryotsu flickering between Hollow and Shinigami like a light switch. Her Shinigami Ryotsu completely overpowered her Hollow Ryotsu in a one-sided fight. Don't you dare try that again, she whispered fiercely as she climbed onto his head. Naruto, I'm really sorry about that. My Hollow was trying to take control of me. Her voice had a lightness to it that showed she was okay with her Hollow side. She didn't mind living as a Vizard. So, it kind of took over your body while you were out, huh? He shared his experience with her wild side, making sure to include every little detail. Yoruichi fell quiet for a moment, and then she just couldn't hold it in anymore and started laughing. Of all the things you could have done, you chose to make it sleep? Come on, Naruto. You had the chance to make me do all sorts of wild stuff. You really let a golden opportunity slip away. He just shook his head. I never really thought about that. I was just more focused on wondering if Yoruichi would stay like this forever. She reached out and gently patted his cheeks with her fluffy paws. I'm really glad to hear that you managed to keep your cool when temptation came knocking, and even happier that you stayed away from the Lada's gang. That transformation was just a one-time thing to deal with Aizen. It's not something we'll see again. What if my life is at risk? He just wouldn't bite on her tricky question, knowing it would open the door to even trickier ones. She laughed and settled comfortably on his head. Naruto, can you fill me in on everything that went down today? I'm really curious. Absolutely. Naruto was chatting casually with Apache and Tear about Mainoli. Apache, while tough, hardly ever went against his orders. Still, he felt it was important to make sure she didn't treat Mainoli too harshly or go overboard with kindness. They needed to treat her just like everyone else. After that, he waved goodbye to the ladies and made his way to Kazuki's old shop. He took a good look around the empty shop, noticing only traces of Toshiro, Unohana, and Rangaku's Ryotsu left behind. Yeah, Unohana took her. How about we head to Momo? He headed over to meet up with Shunsui and Naneo at Sung Sun's flower shop. The two decided to hang out outside the entrance instead of waiting indoors. Naneo's furious expression and the red mark on Shunsui's face told the whole tale. He got in trouble for flirting with the ladies in the shop. Mila Rose had a large hand, and her reaction was just what you'd expect from her. Sung Sun preferred to fight her battles with words rather than with her fists. You're here, Naneo said with a smile. Captain, what's up with you getting into those situations where you end up having to apologize to him? Just a week ago, the idea of her captain saying sorry to the infamous charmer from Shino Academy would have sounded unbelievable to Naneo. Even weirder was that she actually asked him to do it. Naruto smiled, clearly amused. No need for that. He already got what was coming to him from Rose. The mark really spoke volumes about the force and irritation behind the slap, and it also made it clear that Shunsui hadn't gone too far. Otherwise, it wouldn't have just ended with a single slap. The fierce lioness would have gone to war just like she did with Grimmjow. Shunsui rubbed his chin, a friendly smile spreading across his face. Don't you think it's a guy's job to compliment every beautiful woman? The skirt chaser of the Gote 13 is in a league of their own. Partner, it's time to level up your game. Stop taking Adderall. Naneo gave him a friendly smack on the back. All right, Captain, that's enough. Haha. They were all laughing together when suddenly, the door slid open with a loud noise. Momo's eyes lit up when she spotted Naruto, and she quickly dashed over to him with her arms wide open. Naruto-kun, oh, not this again. Naruto held back a sigh. With all his warmth, he softly scooped Momo up in his arms. Could you maybe not do that? Momo went through a lot for you. Comfort her with love, What happens if I don't? I just don't think I'll ever try to connect with Izumi. Looks like I don't have any other option. Got it. Manipulation was a success. UFUFU. Naruto just brushed off Nami's clear efforts to get a rise out of him. I'm sorry. Momo whispered, glancing up with watery eyes. I couldn't make it to help you. The flower lady got me from behind and knocked me out. Shunsui crossed his arms, looking like someone who really gets it. They both really pack a punch. Seriously, they are. Nanao playfully interrupted him with a gentle jab to Shunsui's chin. Keep it down, Captain. Naruto looked back at Momo, who gave him such a pleading look that it felt like she would ignore everything around her until he forgave her for what she thought she had done wrong. He tugged at her cheek until genuine tears started to flow. You silly little thing. I'm sorry. Just hang tight. I'm going to have a little chat with that arrogant woman. No. He brushed Momo aside and stormed into the shop, while Yoruichi jumped down from his shoulder. Just as Momo reached out to follow, the door clicked shut and locked tight. Nanao took Momo's hand and gently led her away from the shop. Just let him take care of it. Nanao was aware of Naruto's close bond with the two women in the flower shop, unlike Momo. But unlike Momo, she was aware of his real nature as a hollow. She felt a bit of pride knowing Naruto's biggest secret that Momo, his love interest, still didn't know about. Nanao-san, it's really not their fault, Momo said, shaking her head. They were trying to keep me from getting involved in a fight that was way over my head. Momo thought back to when she woke up in the shop and felt that anger bubbling up again towards the receptionist and the florist. Thinking back to her awkward attempt to take on the florist, Sun made her cheeks heat up with embarrassment. Sun completely caught Momo off guard with one swift move, leaving her feeling embarrassed. He could have lost his life by trying to split his focus to keep you safe. It's important to understand your limits if you truly want to support him wholeheartedly. Sometimes, taking a step back instead of diving straight into danger is the smartest choice. This lesson really helped Momo take a step back and think things through logically. Momo had to admit that the flower lady was not just stronger physically, but also smarter and more mature. Nanao put a hand on Momo's shoulder. Are you okay? Momo gave a slow nod. Sorry for zoning out. Before long, they started to hear stuff being tossed around in the shop, and Momo figured that things were getting a bit heated between Naruto and Sun. Momo really wanted to step in, but she knew she had to stick around here. She had promised him that she would always respect his wishes. Nanao leaned in close and whispered, "It's not what you think. It feels like a friendly debate." Momo couldn't help but think back to that intense argument she had with Rukia. Momo took a deep breath and decided to trust Nanao's words, waiting anxiously outside the door. Eventually, Naruto came out looking like he had just been through a whirlwind, his hair all over the place and his clothes a bit messy. Nanao felt his cheeks heat up when he caught sight of the love bite marks on his neck. Shunsui's smirk showed he was on the same page. The captain and vice captain quickly pieced together what those earlier sounds in the shop were all about. He was going up against Sun, but it wasn't quite how Momo thought it would be.
Momo, not bothered by his messy appearance, quickly asked how he was doing. Once Momo felt a bit more at ease, he had Shunsui call forth the Senkaimon door. Naruto and his friends walked through the Senkaimon and found themselves in a huge room. The captains of the Gote 13 stood in neat rows, creating two lines that faced one another in quiet anticipation.
On the left side, you had Isshin Shiba, Retsu Unohana, Miyuri Kuretsuchi, Soi Fan, and Jashiro Yukitaki. Meanwhile, on the right, there were Kenpachi Zaraki, Jinrei Kuchiki, Kanami Tosen, Jin Ichimaru, and Seijin Komamura. Right in front of him, the captain commander was sitting on a tall wooden chair that looked a bit out of place with all the grandeur around it, but there was something simple and striking about it. Their Senkaimon got intercepted and ended up opening right in the assembly hall of the first squad's headquarters. Momo leaned in closer to Naruto, shivering from the heavy ryatsu surrounding them. Naruto-kun, is this, Captain Commander? Sure. Isshin, Yukitaki, Jinrei, and Unohana all recognized Naruto, giving him either a friendly smile or a courteous nod. Soi Fan locked her intense gaze on Naruto and the cat perched on his shoulder. Miyuri just gave him a quick look before returning to her task of counting the lines in the floor's design. Most of the captains seemed pretty uninterested, except for Seijin. The dog-headed warrior appeared to have caught a whiff of the lingering scent of ladies on him. "Shunsui Kiraku," Yamamoto said, his voice low and a bit intimidating as he tapped his cane lightly on the floor. "I'm taking your captain's seat now. Stay tuned for more." Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. I'm thrilled you watched the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe for even more exciting content coming your way soon.